So I don't know if they did this when you were in the MTC, but your mission field prep, one of them, they have a guy with a balloon, and when you get a mission call to places like a lot of stateside missions or South America, or, like those missions have really high success rates, but in Europe it's a lot lower, just because of culture and people are different there. And I remember they had this balloon, and they're like asking people that are going to these supposedly successful missions. They're like, "How did you feel when you opened your call?" People are like, "Yeah, you're gonna have a great mission." And then he points to he has somebody that had a mission call. I think it was to Hollanda, Scandinavia. I forget what it's called in English. But they bring him up, and they're like, "So what happened when you opened your call?" It's like, "Oh, I was excited. People were happy." And then my stake president came up, put his hand on my shoulder, and said, "It's going to be a really difficult mission." And I don't know where he takes this needle and just pops this balloon right in front of that kid's face, the elder's face. And he's like, "How did you feel?" Like, it felt horrible. And so I kind of had a similar experience where some people had kind of said, "Oh, you're not really going to find much." And so when I first came in the country, to actually connect this, the night that we came in, there was a baptism. And so we come in, we get our visa work done. Luckily I was in a small group, so we got it done fast. Nowadays they changed the laws, so it takes like a day or two, and it's long lines at the visa office. But we got our doctor appointment, visa done really quick, and that night we went and we saw a baptism, which was cool, because if you hear, your mission doesn't get a lot of success, or baptisms meaning success. And it was just a neat experience to kind of kick off a mission. Like, first thing you see in your country is that. And then after that we were paired with what we call nashes. Every Romanian missionary has a nash. It means a godfather. And so the night you come in the country, you don't get your trainer yet, because at least with my mission president, you don't. He likes to interview you. He considers who he wants for trainers before, and he announces, who's going to be trainers. But he doesn't like to pair you up with people until after he's interviewed you. And so I'm assuming that's the same pretty much in every mission. But for that little day or so gap between when you come in and when you get your trainer, you stay with another set of missionaries, and one of them is your nash or your nasha, godmother or godfather. And I remember my nash and his companion were not getting along too well, and we show up in the apartment. I got there at like 1:30, and it was almost I think it was 11:15 or so when we got back, because things had just been delayed. But we didn't have any public transportation passes, and so we had to walk and take taxis and things like that, so we got back a little bit late. And I just remember I was starving. I was like, "Do you guys have any food at all?" And there's Romanian food called sarmale. I guess we can talk about that a little bit later. But he had 3 sarmale in the fridge, and these were the small ones, this big. And there was me and one of my MTC companions. We were a threesome in the MTC. They'd been in the fridge too long. They were cold. I was starving. I ate it. I was like, "This is disgusting." And it was just a horrifying experience. And wake up in the morning still starving. We didn't eat breakfast, of course, because I didn't know this at the time, but they were taking us to the mission president's house, and we were going to have breakfast there with them. But I was clueless to that, so I was like, "Man, I'm hungry. This is terrible." I've had 2 little tiny cabbage rolls that were frozen, and just so I'm walking down the street, and there's a little thing called a gogosherie, and it means a donut shop, but it's more fry bread, and then they put all kinds of jams or chocolate things in it. And I was like, okay. I stopped the group. I was like, "Guys, I'm hungry. I'm getting one of these." So I got it. It was delicious. It was the first Romanian street food I'd ever had, and it was incredible. Partially due to extreme hunger, and then the other part due to it's just a really good thing to eat. It's delicious. And then a little further on in the day, So we're driving around with the APs the day before, and they're talking about the trainers. And they're like, oh, there's this one trainer, and he's great, like really hardworking, just always smiling. Everybody loves him, happy-go-lucky guy, okay? And we knew there was 3 trainers, so there's one. I was like, okay, I could go with that guy. And they're like, oh, the second one, man, he is just crazy. Like, he's the funnest guy to be around, works really hard. And I was like, I like zany humor. I could totally go for that, like that'd be a cool trainer. And then like we get to the visa office the day before, we're driving around, and we get out, and there's no comment on the 3rd trainer. I was like, I don't want to be with that guy. Like, the APs don't have anything good to say about him. I don't want to be with that guy. And so, of course, the next day I found I'm with that guy. And it turns out that they just forgot to say anything about him because they were getting out of the van, because like he was the coolest trainer ever. But I was just, at first I was like, I do not want this guy, because every missionary I think goes into the mission field with some kind of complex of like, I'm gonna fix this mission. It's me, like some kind of pride problem or something, like, I can change this mission. And when I heard that about my trainer, and I saw him and things like that, I was just like, I have to fix this guy. Yeah, because I've been a missionary so long, I can fix this guy, right? Anyway, so coming in the country, that's what happened. My first area I was assigned to an northeast part of Bucharest. It's called Obor. It's an incredible place. Your apartment is one of like 10 communist blocks that are attached together. And then there's a huge agricultural market called a piazza right next to it. And so it was a great place to start. Lots of people and fun area.